Hi, welcome back to my channel. I'm Avni and today we are going to talk about why we take things personally and 3 key strategies that helped me overcome this habit. So sit back, relax and let's get into it. Taking things personally essentially means that someone said or did something that you thought was an attack on you. Let's have a look at these 2 scenarios.
आज तुम्हारा जन्मदिन है। सुबह उठकर हलवा बनाया, पर तुम जल्दी ऑफिस निकल गए।
आप यही जताना चाहती हैं ना कि इनका बर्थडे सिर्फ आपको ही याद है? अरे इन्हें सरप्राइज देने के लिए मैंने पूरी तैयारी कर ली थी, पर आपने मेरे किए कराए पर पानी फेर दिया।
रुला दिया ना बेचारी को।
In this scenario, the intentions of the person weren't wrong, but you try to mind read what other person must be thinking, assume that they were trying to attack you, and in order to protect your ego, you try to defend yourself. And then there is a situation number 2.
कहाँ गए थे?
पढ़ने।
किसके साथ?
रूपल के साथ।
घर में नहीं पढ़ सकती?
तुम पढ़ाओगी मुझे इंग्लिश लिटरेचर?
Let's be honest, some people do need to learn basic manners. We'll try to understand both the situations and learn what can we do to not take things personally. If you frequently find yourself rethinking what the other person meant or are constantly trying to defend yourself in conversations, then you might be someone who takes offense very easily. Usually in such situations, we label the other person as this insensitive jerk and we label ourselves as this innocent victim who's being called out for no reason. We try to defend our fragile egos by questioning the other person or going completely silent and moping in isolation. We are trying to punish the other person by feeling like a victim.
Hey, I think I'm going to take this spin class tomorrow morning. Oh, sure. Oh, I get it. Message received.
This leads to step number 3. You're constantly overthinking, you isolate yourself and you feel a sense of insecurity. There is a constant drama where you're overthinking whether you are the bad person or is the other person wrong. And you know that the way you are reacting is not making things better. To be honest, this is an immature defense mechanism. Instead of being assertive and clearly speak what you want to speak, you try to take an offense and control how other person should talk to you. Instead of saying things positively, you try to either attack them back or go completely silent.
I didn't say anything.
And this creates further more coating around you, where people aren't able to understand you. You are further going into isolation and constantly stuck in this loop of whether I am wrong or if the other person is wrong, whether am I wrong or the other person is wrong. Instead of them understanding you, this makes people walk on eggshells around you because they don't know what will affect you. Now let's think about situation number 2.
Wow, Shashi Masi, it's amazing!
You know, Kevin, these are the best laddus you will ever eat.
I totally agree.
And my wife, she was born to make laddus, I swear.
Suppose they were really wrong in how they behaved. Even in this situation, you are trying to control how other person should behave. See, there is a fact and then there is a story. And 90% of the time, we are driving the narrative based on the story we tell ourselves. Why did he laugh when I was talking? Maybe he thinks I'm a fool. Why did she not answer my call? Maybe she doesn't want to speak with me. Why did they not invite me to the dinner? Maybe they hate me.
अब कहाँ बेटा? मुझे वर्टिगो है। वैसे भी मैं एक दिन भी बाहर रहूं तो ये घर कैसे चलेगा?
Now the first key here is to understand that it's not always about me. When you are taking things personally, you are always convinced that it's about you. You're constantly thinking about, am I a wrong person? Am I a bad person? Am I being liked? Am I being hated? But let's understand this fact. It's not always about you. Sometimes people are just cranky and aren't emotionally mature to think and mindfully use their words. They aren't really emotionally available to understand how their words could affect you. Or possibly they were just too lost in their own world and did not think twice before saying something. Maybe the person you saw laughing was really looking at something else when he laughed. Or maybe the person who did answer your call was simply dealing through a crisis and forgot to check their call logs. Try to take a look at it from a different perspective and widen our scope of thinking from me to we. Make space to understand other person's point of view and their intentions instead of getting irritated. And most important aspect over here to understand is Don't believe everything you think. Key number 2, draw strong boundaries and choose when to take things personally. One factor that we all need to learn and accept is that not everyone will like you all the time. And that's okay. There are people who will like you for who you are, and there are people who will not like you regardless of how good you are being. If we can find a way to accept this fact and be okay with it, a lot of our energies can be used otherwise, instead of trying to constantly seek validation from everyone all the time. It's exhausting. Which brings us to final key, a strong sense of self. Let's suppose you were right about the situation and it was about you.
तुम पढ़ाओगी मुझे इंग्लिश लिटरेचर?
Now here, what the other person said affected you so much and you are feeling insecure because somewhere you thought there is a truth in it. This usually happens when we don't have a strong sense of self, especially in the areas where we already lack confidence. Suppose you are not confident about your cooking or are really sensitive about the way you speak English. Now, if someone says something about your English or cooking, you are directly gonna feel attacked and feel very offended about it. And this is the moment when you have to give yourself some empathy. Be vulnerable without blaming others and explain why you felt the way you did. This has a better chance of other person understanding you and taking your needs into account. No one can make you feel inferior without your consent. Eleanor Roosevelt. When you take things personally, you are operating from a fear of not being good enough, and you want to change what others think and say about you. Let's replace this with more reliable sense of self and inspect ourselves better. People who don't take offense either shake it off or they take feedback. So let's understand what are the things where you take things personally. Stop wanting the world to not hurt your feelings. Instead, let's work on what we can control. Let's put that energy into building a strong foundation for ourselves and become more secure person. So in conclusion, stop trying to control how other person should behave and instead focus on what you can control. Put your energy into becoming what you think aligns with you and makes you feel better about yourself. And let the drama just melt away. If this video helped you, then please like and subscribe and share this video with someone who needs this message today.